watching SHEM Ministries, souls honoring Elohim's mandate. And now for today's message.
Hello, 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 hello. I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Praises to God. We thank God. We praise God. This is SHEM Ministries, and I've got my camera a little kind of high, but you're not going to watch much of me tonight. But I'm here. I wanted you to see I'm here in living color. Okay? To God be the glory. I am Dr. Anna Shaw Devlin. This is SHEM Ministries, Souls Honoring Elohim's Mandate. And tonight is our SHEM 2 night. That is a spiritual, healthy, enlightening mandate ministry. Okay? Now, I am going to say this, and I may just end up having a disclosure printed so that I don't have to say it every single time I come on. Yes, I am a family nurse practitioner. Yes, medical science has evidence-based this, that, and the other, prove, that this is what works. This is how we determine what's best for us in our health. The task force on this, that, and the other, the years of research that goes into certain things so that we can say that it's proven, scientifically proven, this, that, and the other. Well, they can't even prove, well, let me not go there. There's certain things that man wants us to prove that we can't prove, but we have faith to believe in these things because they just have to be true. They have to be, okay? I took the time and I said that because I need to say to each and every one of you, from a spiritual, healthy, enlightenment perspective, God has given me divine revelations regarding some of the statements that I make that I can't prove for in a scientific manner because haven't researched it. But I truly believe that in time, in due season, the things that God has given me, the revelations that God has given me shall come to pass. That is my prophetic ministry. And as a woman of God, as a prophetess, and as a healthcare provider, I tell people that it's like a double-barrel shotgun. One barrel is going to shoot the medicine, the medical stuff, and the other side of the other barrel is going to shoot the spiritual things, but they together, this ministry is for the believer. They together, in the eyes and the ears of the believer, will make a difference in your life. How do I know? Because I personally have been afflicted with many things that I have for years seen, researched on me, okay? And tonight, if you saw the header, it's hair talk. Time for an update. We are going to have a little update on our hair talk. And there are videos that I have presented in the past in regards to hair loss, especially in the African American woman, and that is me, myself, and I. But tonight I wanted to share with you some some of the things that I now know that I didn't know even then when we did the first hair talk, that shall be in the book that I will, or God is allowing me to write in my head, He's allowing me to write a book that is actually not in print yet. Let me say it that way, okay? And it's about hair loss in the African American woman. So tonight we're going to, like I said, you're not going to see much of me. Create one to get started. What just happened? I hope I didn't get rid of anything. Anyway, I hope I didn't jack anything up. But anyway, let's keep talking. And I'm going to put this up for you. I want to start by showing you the skin, the hair. And I'm going to put this picture up and then we're going to pray. And then I'm going to move forward. And this is the actual skin and the blood flow and the blood supply underneath, and the Cleveland Clinic. This was borrowed, utilized from their online resources, and I do give them credit. At the end of the broadcast, we will put up our resources. But for right now, dear Heavenly Father, we give you all honor, glory, thanks, and the praise. We thank you, Lord, for us being able to be here tonight in a area, in a avenue, in a platform where we can teach, talk, and educate, however you want to say it, about the hair and what we know about our hair and things that we are now learning. Okay. And Lord, we ask that you just bless this information that I'm presenting tonight to be a blessing to your people, that they will absorb it, they will marinate in it, that they will even reproduce it in teaching and talking to other people. So let's go back and just, because I want to focus tonight on the actual strand of hair. We want to talk about the porosity of hair. So in the porosity of hair as it relates to us caring for our hair and the growth and all those things that are involved in growing hair that we may not have knowledge of. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to mention me personally, the hair loss that I have, which is CCCA alopecia. It is where the white blood cell destroys the hair follicle. So if we look at the hair follicle in this picture here, first of all, we understand that the subcutaneous tissue we look at is where the blood flow is, right? We look at the muscle, which is the striated orange layer on the bottom. So we have muscle. Many of us don't have much muscle, okay? I'm going to admit that. Then we have the blood supply, which is in the subcutaneous tissue, which is the veins are the blue and the red is the arteries. So we know that hair has to have some type of blood flow in order for it to grow. The nutrients, the oxygen. Remember, we said that oxygenated blood is why it looks the red, and blue is deoxygenated blood. So blood coming from the heart to the tissue that it is providing blood flow to is red, and that signifies it's full of oxygen. When the oxygen is gone after it does what it needs to do, the veins are blue and they carry it back to the heart to get more oxygen from the lungs. Okay? So you gotta have, in order to have hair, you have to have healthy tissue. Now, you see this dermis layer. The dermis layer is actually where the hair follicle lives. And then the hair as it grows, the shaft of the hair comes up out of the epidermis, which is where the skin is that we can touch, and then the hair peeks through. Okay? All right? Keep this in mind as we talk. Okay? Now, and I'm going to reference back to this picture during our talk, because I'm going to tell you what is working for me, and scientifically, anyway, why it's working. But it had to be a spiritual, divine enlightenment that I realized when we talked in the Bible about the valley of dry bones, and just the simple fact that even though they told me that my hair lost certain areas in my scalp where there was scarring, that hair would never grow again. Okay? And I prophesied to those hair follicles that they said would never grow again, that the same way God allowed the marrow of the bone, where the red blood cells are, where all the stem cells are that turn into red cells and white cells and platelets, all the cells that we need in our body to live come from the stem cells in our bone marrow. And I said that we need to think of the hair follicle as the bone marrow, in a sense, that yes, there has to be life in there, that God can create life in the hair the same way he did the dry bone. And I am now going to show you the hair growth cycle. Now, understand that there are certain cycles that a shaft of hair or a strand of hair goes through in order to grow. And at any given time, if the hair is damaged or doesn't get what it needs, it can die and no longer grow. And it falls out and we shed it. Okay? So this hair growth cycle starts with the number one, the anagen phase. There's a period of growth. Nourishment of hair follicle by way of blood supply enables the hair growth. So going back to the first picture I showed you, we have to have healthy scalp. Okay? Good blood flow. So one of the things that I started doing was making sure that I massaged my scalp. You have to increase circulation, blood flow, okay? But in order to have good blood flow that carries oxygen, you also have to work inside out and make sure that you have enough iron, because it is the iron in the red blood cells that carry the oxygen. So if you are iron deficient, how can you have all the nutrients necessary for your hair to grow? So long story short, we need to be healthy inside out as well for the hair that is going to grow on the outside to grow. Okay? So, phase number 2. Now see, the root, the blood supply, the hair follicle, and the hair. Phase number 2 is the catagen phase. That is the transition phase where the hair follicle detaches from the nourishing blood supply. So the hair starts to grow from the root, the blood supply. It detaches from the nourishing blood supply. Now this is the cycle now. Okay, let me say this. Our hair grows, but eventually you do know that hair dies. But by the time the hair dies, another hair strand is growing in its place and replaces it. This cycle happens so much, so rapidly, that you do not even notice it. But do you know when they say, oh, it's natural to lose 100 strands of hair a day? Okay, well, those who have hair loss and alopecia, it's more noticeable to us than it is to someone who has natural, healthy hair. The turnover is so readily or is so fast that you don't even realize you lost any hair, because there's no you always have a lot of forests in the trees, right? You don't have a sparse or field that is sparse where there's not many trees. But if you look at a hair follicle as a tree, people who have hair loss don't have many trees, so they see the turnover. But normally, the hair is going to grow and it's going to die or be replaced by a new strand of hair. So the catagen phase happens when the hair follicle detaches from nourishing blood supply. And it can stay like that for a long time, right? Because then we go into the telogen phase. This is the resting phase, where after the hair has grown, right, and it's separated from the blood supply, it just says, I'm going to rest here for a while. This telogen phase, without nourishment, the hair dies and falls out. But it may rest there for a while, okay? So while we're talking about this, and I hope this is making sense, because I'm going to make it make sense. There are certain products that are recommended to grow your hair back or to help you grow your hair that was prescribed by a dermatologist. And my dermatologist in particular came up with a regimen that is conducive for hair growth. And I will say that I have seen hair growth in places that were not supposed to grow since I have been undergoing this treatment, this regimen. The regimen involves a over-the-counter medication. I don't think it was over-the-counter years ago, called Rogaine or minoxidil. Now, minoxidil also comes in pills, but you can take so minoxidil in pill form would pretty much be what a person would take. It can lower blood pressure. It used to be used readily years ago for blood pressure control. And it will lower your blood pressure. And men who have androgen hair loss may use minoxidil tablets as well as the foam or the cream. So minoxidil comes in a different percentages, different strengths that you can apply topically to your scalp that allows us to grow hair. Okay? Remember that. there is no, man has not figured out yet exactly the mechanism of action, the pathophysiology of the minoxidil in hair growth. However, they do know that this telogen resting phase is shortened with minoxidil. So basically, if I can skip this phase where there is no nourishment and the hair dies and falls out, if I can skip that, then the hair itself can remain intact, grow, okay? It doesn't have to die and fall out. So minoxidil does that, and it allows you to grow hair because it omits or shortens this telogen phase. Okay? Now, the regimen that my dermatologist in particular has utilized for me is multifactorial. Number one, I told you about the minoxidil. So the minoxidil is actually compounded with a anti-inflammatory type oil. It's like a steroid oil mixed in with the minoxidil that you apply to the scalp or to the area that you want hair to grow. And you do it every day, okay? So you are decreasing, with my particular hair loss, which is the white blood cell destruction of the hair follicle, we're working against my immune system and telling my immune system, you do not have to fight me. No fight or flight is necessary. Stop fighting my hair follicle. And that involves the use of the steroid cream with the minoxidil and the oil to keep the hair shaft. And I didn't upload a picture. But the same way your skin gets cracked when it's dry, when your skin is dry and you need I need to lotion my legs. And the skin is cracked and apt to tear, break, bleed. It's not moisturized. So if you put oil, a type of oil in it, then that combats that as well and leads to the healthiness and the nourishment of the hair as it's growing. Okay, so we have the minoxidil, we have the steroid and treatment, and the oil. Now, the other thing, I don't have, I didn't have a picture, but I can just listen to me. And I will tell you that the dermal layer, let's go back to this picture here. So in order to make the dermal layer of the hair healthy, two things that are utilized. One is collagen. Collagen builds and strengthens and nourishes the dermal layer of your hair. Okay, number one. Now, Viviscal or Nutrafol, and we talked about this not too long ago, those are hair vitamins that supply the nutrients necessary as well for a healthy scalp, healthy dermal layer. and healthy blood supply to the hair follicle. Okay? So we have collagen, we have Viviscal or Nutrafol, as the vitamins that increase the nutritional value, okay, that the skin and the dermal layer and the blood supply to the hair follicle receives. You have the collagen that's building it up. Now, the next thing is the epidermis, okay? So you got the hair growing, right? So when the hair, see the hair coming out of the of the epidermis, it can easily get damaged or get inflamed or infected. Let's use an analogy of, I don't know if you've ever grown a plant and the plants get attacked by insects. So we spray our crops with certain insecticides. Yeah. Some are healthier than others, but that is how we keep the bugs from eating up the crop before it finishes growing into the tomato or cucumber or whatever we're trying to grow. You have to keep the pests away. So in order to keep the epidermis conducive for that hair that is now growing to live, you have to wash your hair. So part of my regimen is washing my hair every 2 weeks. But before I wash the hair, I treat it with a special oil that has a steroid anti-inflammation in it. And what I use is it has triamcinolone in it, and it's an oil so that the steroid doesn't over dry the scalp too. Now, I know this sounds a little complex, but hear me on out because I'm going to summarize it in the end. So, you wash the dirt and all the byproducts and dead skin cells. You clean the trash out of the trash can so that it won't stink. Now, can your hair stink? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Some people don't wash their hair until it starts to stink. Well, we don't want our hair to stink. So every 2 weeks, you wash your hair. You treat your scalp 24 hours before you wash it. And then you wash it. And then after you wash it, now this is where we're going to talk about porosity of hair. Now, I told you all the stuff under the skin that's necessary, the oil that is necessary to not have dry skin or dry hair that's gonna crack and pop and break, right? We all know you moisturize your hair before you comb it, or you should, unless you're gonna lose a lot of dry hair. Okay, all right. So now, I did not, let me see if this is needed. Okay, here we go. The thing that I wanted to show you about this is the stages of cell growth that each hair follicle goes through. Okay, I want you, as a close-up, see. Remember we talked about cells, melanocytes. Whoa, those are cells. The melanin that gives us the hair color. Woo! I want you to see that we have sebaceous glands that, if they're not healthy enough to secrete the oil to lubricate the hair follicle, so we are being lubricated inside out. You're being lubricated with the sebaceous gland, and then to prevent the hair from drying out, that's where we add the hair oil. Okay? I wanted to show you that. Now, we're going to go back, and I guess you can just watch me. Okay? Now, and I keep my head covered because let me explain to you. First of all, I told you that I keep my head covered because it's multiple lengths. But the other reason I keep my head covered is kind of like Christmas. You have presents under the tree and you have them wrapped until it's time to open the present. Well, when it's time for me to open the present and you see what God has done, I'm gonna take my scarves off and show you. The proof is in the pudding. I have many before and after photos, okay? But to increase your faith and your belief, this is not gonna be just something you heard, but something you've seen with your own eyes. Okay? Now, this is the newbie on the block that I found out recently that I am also going to present to my dermatologist when I go back to see her, because testimony is how we learn, from the testimony of others. So if you are a specialist or you are educated in a certain area, you have to be willing to receive information coming to you from your clients that you are helping. So if I were to ask this dermatologist how she came up with this regimen, I promise you, or I strongly believe a lot of it was trial and error and the testimony of her patients. Okay? Yes. Because when you say, I've been in practice for 20 years and this is what I've seen works, how much better does that sound than I heard or I read, but I don't know it for a fact because I haven't seen it. So I want to take this information that you and I are getting ready to talk about, and this information has been out since this article, I actually printed it June the 11th, but it was last reviewed on WebMD, and this is where I got it from, by Dr. Deborah Jalliman on February 27th of 2024. And it was written by WebMD, okay? And I am going to read what she said word for word. I'm not going to ad-lib. I'm going to read it because I need you to process this information, because after the hair grows, you have to know your hair and how to care for your hair in particular. Their job is to get your hair to grow, or the treatment regimen is to get it to grow. It's up to you and how you treat your hair, right? We learn to start sleeping with a satin cap, to treat our hair better, that we don't damage the hair. We don't rip the hair as we toss and turn in the bed. Or a satin pillow cover to keep the hair from being damaged. Trial and error, things we had to learn. How you treat your hair. How you comb your hair after you wash it. It's called detangle your hair. How do you detangle your hair? How do you condition your hair after you shampoo it? How do you use a leave-in conditioner? Do you do a hot oil treatment or a mask? You know, those masks that you put on your head and cover it up for about 30 minutes. And these are things that we have learned over time that provide moisture, which is what? Water. Water has what? Oxygen. So you're getting oxygen on the outside and oxygen with the blood supply on the inside. But all of this collectively is what is required. So the article says what to know about low porosity hair. And we're going to talk about hair porosity. So I'm going to read the article. Like I said, I'm not going to ad lib. Low porosity hair. You think porous? When something is porous, it has holes in it that allows water to seep through. Didn't I just tell you that we need some type of moisture to give our hair oxygen on the outside as well as the oxygen blood flow on the inside? So if your hair is not porous, it has a hard time getting water, oxygen, nutrients in it. In order for those conditioners to seep down in the hair and strengthen it, the hair has to have porosity. Or it's like you just washing it down the drain. So, low porosity hair is human hair that does not readily absorb water. And treatments. So it's crucial or very important to know if you have high or low porosity hair. I did not know about this until someone told me about a month ago. And I found this article that is evidence-based, reputable source of information in WebMD. And I'm sharing it with you. That's why we're doing a hair talk update. Okay? So I had to go back through how hair grows to now the meat and potatoes of our talk is on porosity. So if you have low porosity hair, your hair does not readily absorb water and treatments. It's like dry, flaky skin. I don't care how much. You ever see people that they have to lotion their body like several times a day or twice a day at least? Can you imagine the porosity of their skin? Okay. Your hair may be low porosity if it takes a long time to wet and dry. Whoa. Now, when I get ready to wash my hair, in order for my hair to really get wet like it needs to be, it takes a while. I have to run the water and I have to shampoo it in order to really get the shampoo in there like it needs to be. I'm just talking about me now. I'm transparent. I have to shampoo my hair at least 2-3 times. I mean, twice at least. The second time, it takes twice to really get a good lather and a good shampoo and know that it's absorbed into the hair. Now, the third time is to really get my scalp clean, okay? So I wash my hair, I lather it and shampoo it 3 times. The first time, I don't use a whole lot. The second time, kinda. Third time, it don't take as much because it's really wet by that time, okay? Now, that's just me. And then as far as drying, now, y'all ladies, when you go to the the beautician, if you one of those people who got to sit under the dryer for a long time to get your hair dry, guess what? You probably have low porosity hair. Just never thought about it until now. It says if you use hair care products, they tend to stay on the surface of your hair rather than being absorbed. That's why I said we spending all this money. So a person with low porosity hair has to use twice as much product to soften and treat in their hair than someone else. So is it good to know if you have low porosity hair? Yes. And then at the end of the article, it tells you low porosity hair care. So we're going to get to that. So wait. I'm sorry. Let me go back. I skipped something. So, this makes hair care treatments less effective when you have low porosity hair. Managing low porosity hair comes with unique challenges, and it's important to understand how to care for it properly. What is hair porosity? Hair porosity describes the ability of the hair shaft. That's why we went through those pictures. It's the ability of the shaft of the hair to take in and retain water and other cosmetic products. So it's not that you may not be using the right stuff. I realize it's the manner in which I'm using it. And I'm going to get to that at the end. Understanding hair porosity. I changed how I take care of my hair, the hair that is growing, okay, to keep it growing. So, a human hair shaft is typically made up of 3 layers. And let's say, it might be, here we go. So, it's made up of 3 layers. The cuticle, okay, the cortex, and the medulla. Now, in this picture, so the cuticle would be the outer layer, and it's not labeled here, but the cuticle. Then you see the cortex. See the arrow right here pointing to cortex, and then there's the medulla. So that is a human hair shaft, is those 3 layers, okay? The cuticle is the outermost layer. It's made of plates that overlap each other in a structure very much like roof shingles. Right. That's what I was saying to you about having the right amount of lubricant. So you don't see anyway. The cuticles of low porosity hair are tightly packed together and lie flat, leaving no gaps for moisture to enter. This means that moisture and treatments cannot penetrate the hair. Hair porosity is often due to genetics or specific hair grooming procedures. So we can add to or take away from having low porosity hair by how we groom our hair. Low porosity hair is more common in people who have straight hair as compared with those with naturally coiled or curly hair. Oh. So if my hair has low porosity, it's probably because of how I took care of it or groomed it. Has nothing to do with the fact that I have curly hair. I have tightly coiled hair. Oh, okay. Now, how to tell if you have low porosity hair. Low porosity hair takes significantly more time to wash. Did I not just tell you that? And dry than normal or high porosity hair. This is because it repels water, stopping it from penetrating the hair strand. When low porosity hair finally gets wet, it takes a long time to dry. Okay, we went through that. So, here are simple tests you can use. Let's see, let me go back to me. There are tests that you can use or do to determine if you have low porosity hair. The first test is called the float test. Now don't laugh. I'm telling you, I'm reading it word for word now. Pluck a random strand of your hair. You know, like one in the nape of the neck that you probably want to get rid of anyway, okay? Place it on top of room temperature water in a bowl. Room temperature water. If it rapidly sinks to the bottom, then it's porous. However, if your hair floats for some time, like the backstroke, okay, all right, then it's likely to have a low porosity. Okay, now here's another test. It's called a spray test. Spray some water on your hair and observe it. Low porosity hair won't easily absorb the water and will still have visible beads of water on the strand. Oh, well, that's me right there. Now I know for a fact, my mama, her hair is porous, high porosity. You know how I know? Because all she got to do is sweat. Humidity. She ain't even got to put water on her hair. And her hair makes changes. All right. So, knowing your hair's porosity is key to selecting the right products and creating a hair care regimen that keeps it healthy. This is the icing. So for me, the dermatologist has given me a regimen of how to get my hair to grow. Up under the dermal layer, first of all, I made sure I'm not iron deficient. I made sure that I take my hair vitamins. I'm doing my collagen, the Viviscal, okay? All of that. Washing my hair, treating the hair with what I was told to use. But now it's time. I'm washing it appropriately, making sure the scalp is clean. But taking the time to understand the hair porosity and what's necessary to keep that hair healthy is the icing on the cake that I was missing. And now that I'm figuring it out, woohoo! Soon and very soon, we will be able to open up the Christmas present. Okay? Or open it up enough that you will be able to watch the present continue to do what I believe God will. Okay? Because the faith of a mustard seed was what I started with. Trial and error. But I didn't give up. Okay? So low porosity hair repels moisture due to its inherent structure, making it tough to manage and style. Here are some practical tips to help you tame your low porosity hair and make it moisturized, soft, and flexible. Clarify. Clarifying hair involves using a deep cleaning shampoo to remove the buildup of old products on your hair and scalp. That's why she told me I had to wash my hair at least every 1 to 2 weeks. She told me the longest I could go was 2 weeks. Because I have to remove the buildup, the dead skin cells. Remember, we talked about dead skin cells. And you know something dead gonna stink. Don't wait until you, my hair don't smell so good. Is that my hair? My scalp? Don't wait until your hair stinks to wash it. And if you have a hairstyle that prevents you from washing your hair, get rid of it. That is the reason I keep mine covered, so I can easily do the things that I need to do. Massage the scalp, increase the blood flow, all of those things. You have to put forth work. In Genesis, this is spiritual healthy. Because of the fall of man and sin, did God not tell Abraham that he was going to have to work by the sweat of his brow? So why do we want something that we don't have to work to get? If you have lost your hair and didn't protect it, and you lose it as you age or whatever it is, don't think hard that you may not have to work, that you have to work, not may not have to, but that you have to work to get it back for it to grow. Work! Okay. So we got the clarifying shampoo. Okay. Treatments and oils barely penetrate low porosity hair. All that oil I've been putting on my head. So they are more likely to remain on the hair and the scalp. Not saying that it won't penetrate, because actually, if you cover it with a cap or sit on the dryer and let the heat cause moisture, that moisture will help the oil penetrate into the hair. There's ways of doing it. That's why when you go to the beautician and she gives you a treatment, why do you think she put the cap on your head and put you under the dryer? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, all right. And you don't have to sit up under a dryer. Listen, if you home all day and you cleaning the house, you washing dishes, washing clothes, put the bag on your head with whatever and then go rinse it out later, okay? There's ways of doing it. These buildups block your hair follicles and adversely affect the health of your hair. You cannot have those buildups. How's the hair follicle going to grow? How's the hair follicle going to stay healthy? You're blocking me. You're standing in my way. You're preventing me from growing. I want to grow, but you won't let me. That was one thing I was doing wrong, because I actually thought, listening to people, you stripping your hair the more you keep washing it. So first of all, there's some truth in that, but you got to understand what your problem is. See, if my problem, which is white blood cell destruction of the hair follicle, for me, I had to wash my hair more often. Now, for someone else, it may be different, but for me personally, I had to get rid of the trash, that buildup that was blocking my follicles for me. So you have to take the time and figure out your hair, and what is your problem. That is why I needed a biopsy to prove the type of hair loss I had. Okay? So moisture. Your hair needs moisture to make it soft, supple, and resilient. The moisture that is naturally stored within your hair strand may not be enough to keep it flexible. That is why you need to regularly moisturize your hair with a leave-in conditioner and other moisturizing products. Make sure, and I didn't have a picture of this, that whatever you use is free of parabens, paraffins, and all that other stuff that are known sulfates, things that will dry your hair out. Make sure they now have a little emblem on them that says free of this, and this. That is what you purchase. Hair moisturizers and products that are free of some of those things. Do the research. Take the time. Don't just go buy something. And don't buy something because it's cheap, because it's going to cost you more in the long run. And sparingly, if you know what to do to your low porosity hair to make it more porous over time. So if you use the clarifying shampoo, moisture, light oils, deep conditioner with heat and humectants, you can change your low porosity hair, make it more porous so that you won't have to use as much product. You can wash it more. I'm telling you now. Okay? So, use light oils. Light oils are more absorbent and thus better suited for low porosity hair. They don't burden your hair and can penetrate deep into the hair shaft. And I did not look up, but there's lighter oils like coconut oil. I know it's one. Coconut oil is light. That's a good healthy oil. Almond oil. Maybe another, and I use, oh gosh, what is the emu oil, EMU. It's like a sheep, but it's a kind of sheep in the family, an emu oil, and it's 100%. Don't be cutting nothing with nothing. Now you know you can buy stuff, and it's cheap. But is it 100% what you're buying, or did they cut it with something else to cheaper? And they call it coconut oil, but it's really got some other stuff in it. But it looks like coconut oil, but it's cheaper. Well, this coconut oil over here is cheaper than this coconut oil. You better look and read and make sure it says 100% coconut oil. Okay? Deep condition with heat. I just said that. Apply a conditioning product and use a steamer, thermal cap, or a hooded dryer to heat up your hair. Heat opens up the tightly woven cuticle. Remember, the cuticles are like shingles on a roof. So the heat opens it up and allows the conditioner to push moisture into your hair shaft. Trap the moisture by rinsing off with cold water. Not hot water. So I didn't say ice cold water, but you mean to tell me that when I wash my hair, I shouldn't rinse it with that hot water? Yep. Cold water closes the cuticle. So hot water, heat opens it up, allows that conditioner to get down in the cuticle, down in the shaft of the hair. And you rinse it with cold water or cooler water and shuts the door so that the cuticle will hold the moisture in. Wow. Changing the porosity of your hair for hair growth. Because the hair can grow and then pop, break, and be gone. And that was one of the problems I had. Years ago, I was using the minoxidil. The hair would grow. Okay. I used minoxidil years ago for 5 years. The hair would grow, but it would pop and break. So when I finally stopped using it, I was so distraught over 5 years worth of using that. Do you know how much that cost me? 5 years. Minoxidil is not cheap. It's like $30 to $40 for, anyway, 5 years now. I would probably say about $40 a month, maybe. Okay? Adds up over 5 years. All right. But it's drying. That's why the compounded minoxidil that has the oil in it. Okay. Oh, Lord. All right. So you have to, let me see, trap the moisture, rinse with cold water, closes the cuticle. Then, now, use humectants. HUMECTANTS. What is a humectant? Humectants are materials that love water. So if I'm trying to put moisture in my hair, I need to use humectants because they love water. They are great for low porosity hair. Guess what humectants are? These include pectin, PECTIN, like what's in apples, honey, glycerin, and aloe vera. What? So you telling me that if I buy something to moisturize my hair that's got aloe vera and a little bit of honey and all of that, that's gonna attract the water and keep the water in my hair too? Yes, that's what I'm telling you. Yep. Humectants draw moisture from their environment and retain it, keeping their surroundings moist. This helps prevent low porosity hair from drying out. All right. There we go. And I am sorry that it was, anyway, I apologize for being late tonight. But I understand why I had to fight so many battles. Glory be to God. And I know you guys are probably tired of hearing that, but guess what? Soon and very soon, SHEM Ministries will have a designated method set up. We will probably, yes, not probably, we will have our segments not just live when we record them, but recorded so that they can stream live at the appointed time. We're going to get it together. Yeah, we are. Because God is going to set us free financially, where we don't have to work as hard and can devote. I didn't say what year this is going to be, but I do speak it into existence that we are going to be in a situation where we can devote more time to the ministry. Anyway, God bless each and every one of you. I pray that you have a restful night's sleep. This is Dr. Anna Shaw Devlin, family nurse practitioner that loves teaching, educating, preaching, whatever is necessary to enhance the kingdom of God. Whatever it takes to move God's people forward. Yep, that's us. To God be the glory. God bless you. And Pastor Devlin will see you. Wait a minute. I forgot. My weekends got messed up. But anyway, he'll see you on Sunday. All right. Love you all. Bye-bye.